This is the Voiceover Gurus Podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry with your hosts, Linda Bruno and JJ Wilson.
So JJ, it feels like it's been ages since I've seen you, but I just saw you last night during our mock audition workout.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome, too.
Yeah, we had a good time.
We had a unique situation.
Yeah.
On the second go-around, we gave everybody copy, the same piece of copy. We gave them 14.987 minutes. And then Linda and I listened to all of them, and we decided that none of them were right for it. And we didn't know what to do, but then we realized in real life that does happen. You know, if a client gives an agent a spot and the agent calls their favorite people and they all audition for it and the client doesn't like anybody, then they call a different agent, get a new set of voices. But that does happen in real life, and it happened last night.
It did happen last night. So we had everybody work on it.
Right.
I read it because it's a retail spot, and that's a lot of the work that I do, and coached people through it. But it was an interesting scenario.
Right. And by the time we got done, I think we had 3 competitors to book the spot.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Everybody, I don't know. It was an interesting evening last night.
Oh, hey, JJ. Welcome back
to
Linda.
The
Voiceover
thank
Gurus
you.
podcast.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, we have fantastic Brian who introduces us, so I kind of feel like, we can we can just hit the ground running the moment that we
I don't
recording.
run, Linda.
You don't run. Well,
No.
hit the ground. Hit the ground.
That I do. Just walking. Depends if the dog's in the way. But yeah, it was quite interesting last night that we came up against that on the mock audition night. And I think a lot of people learned a lot of stuff about what's going on and how to, break through that. Everybody sounded the same.
Yeah.
Except one guy on the first round just was like 200% above everybody else, and he got it.
He booked it, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And as I always say, and I'm going to say it again, when you think you sound ridiculous, you're probably pretty close to where the client wants you to be. So don't be afraid.
Something else that I realized last night that the mock audition is good for is for people to check their audio.
Yes.
Because then we critique what your audio sounds like.
Right.
Or if you have room noise or...
Yeah, there was a little bit of room noise in one person, and the other one, I don't know, it was just connection, and she's new to the business, doesn't know. I think she's taken 3 or 4 lessons, and that's it, knows nothing about the technical end, but it was...
I know, I felt so
all
bad.
the way through her read, and her read was great, but it was just hard to hear.
She was having technical difficulties.
Yeah,
but this is stuff that happens. This is real world stuff,
It really is.
And you have to get the audition in a certain amount of time, and all of a sudden your system craps out,
Right. Just like mine did before the podcast.
Yes.
Linda and I talked for 4.5 hours before we did this podcast today because I couldn't get Pro Tools to load.
And we really caught up.
Yeah, we really did. Yep. Linda now knows what happened to me when I was 2 on Thursday, June 11th.
So last week we had a really cool episode because we had Rolf Veldman from Voice 123.
Yes, we did.
He joined us on the podcast to discuss their latest research project on AI. But now I'm listening to all these other podcasts. He basically went on every voiceover podcast.
Gotcha. We thought we were special for a minute.
Well. I feel for you if you binge voiceover podcasts because all you've been hearing is Rolf and AI the whole past 2 weeks. But it's great. It's very informative. It was still good no matter what, and really appreciate his time. He was with us for almost an hour. Describing the situation. And now we can kind of take a little deep breath and go, okay, I don't need to freak out right now.
The good news was that it's just not there yet. And I could have told him that. But I'm sure he already knew it. But, to do the actual research to see what people are doing. Are they really hiring this voice? And I'm starting to see them on YouTube every now and then for people who don't want to spend a lot of money. As a matter of fact, when we were doing class last night, I walked out. My wife was rehearsing for a lunch and learn today at her pharmaceutical company. And she was reading aloud. And I said, you really should get an AI voice to do that. And she gave me, there was one finger she held up. And then I came back in here. So But
Didn't she yell a few expletives?
I believe she did, yes. I will not repeat them today. but I'm so used to that, What in the hell? Anyway, so you wanted to talk about promos.
Because we have not discussed promos, which is crazy. I mean, this is episode 74, I think we're on. And promos is one of the main sources of my income, and I know you've done promos for years. I'm like, why haven't we talked about promos?
I don't know.
So spit into that microphone. So we thought we'd discuss our experiences with it because a lot of people don't know a lot about it. It's not the most advertised genre of the voiceover industry. But
and it's a different world and a different read.
Yes. Yeah. The read is definitely different. But there's different types of promo jobs out there.
Right.
So I know you were a booth announcer.
I have been the booth announcer for WSBN 7 for 19 years.
So explain what that means.
That means they send me things that say, Channel 7 Weather, sponsored in part by Ford.
And now booth announcer harkens back to the old days when they actually had a booth and a person in the booth waiting.
I used to do that when I lived in Miami. I'd go there and do them I do probably one or two a day. And they've had a monthly retainer for me for 19 years.
19 years. That's fantastic.
Yes.
Now, do you have a contract?
No. He goes, you want to do this another year? I go, yeah. He goes, great. I'll send you a script. So it's really technical.
Yeah.
But there's never been a contract or anything like that. And it's always good. And it's a wonderful gig. It's one of the very few pieces of money I can count on every month.
Right.
And that's the beauty of promos. You know you're going to get paid for them every month. But, if it's scattered, you go, well, I wonder when they're going to pay.
I have a similar situation with in the market I came from in Fort Myers. There's Wink Television there. And I've been voicing for them since, since like the mid-90s.
Wow, okay.
And then they took a break from me. I think they kept Brian Lee. It's all good because women sometimes get, And then they brought me on for both TV and radio to do promos, which was nice. And it was a monthly thing. There was no official contract. It was more of a, handshake thing.
Here, read this.
Right. And now I just do the TV station. So I just do Billboard. They got rid of me for the radio stuff. But it's great. It's a monthly thing. Like you said, it's monthly money that comes in. It's not difficult. You get into a rhythm of doing it. Mine is sponsored in part by.
Right. Exactly what I do for Channel 7.
Right.
Sometimes I do, a Channel 7 weather update.
Right.
Like, oh my God, the world is ending. Hurry.
Oh, you have a good voice for that.
Thank you. The weather is coming. It's going to be windy.
So that's one type of announcer, promo announcer.
Right.
It's for TV stations.
Right. What else for that? I did. I was the PAX. Remember PAX in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and all that West Palm?
Mm-hmm.
I was their movie voice.
What does that mean?
I did all the trailers for all the movies that were coming on PAX television.
Oh, that's
tonight
cool.
on PAX. And those are the ones where you just read, a little bit, then they show video. And then he died. Then they show more video. Then he came back to life. Then they show more video. Tonight on PAX at 8.
Now, was that contractual or was that a piece?
No, that was a handshake.
Okay. Was it a monthly retainer or was it an individual promo?
It was individual. It was like every 3 days a week I would drive to Palm Beach.
Okay.
And just go in and do the next couple of weeks and then and so on. Yeah.
So did you get paid per promo?
Yes, as a matter of fact, yes.
Per promo. Okay.
Yeah, and that's what happened many, many years ago. I went to New York to try the circuit up there, and the first job that I booked with my agent was the voice of the Today Show.
Wow, that's a
when
huge
Brian
one.
Gumbel was still on. That's how far back I'm talking.
Wow.
But I went in and did tomorrow on or next week on Today. Da 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 da. Then I would do a version tomorrow on Today on Today, this morning on Today.
Yeah.
And they would pay me for each one. And it was like $1,000 a day just for that.
That's nice.
And then at 9:30, I'd go get a bagel from the subway station in New York and walk around the city and wait for the auditions to happen. But God, those gigs are just incredible.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a really good one. Now, I've had the honor of being a network voice for some cable networks.
Yes.
And that's a different
I bought 3 purses from you. You don't even know it.
So the network voice is, basically the voice that the audience is going to associate with the network. And it's continual work. It's usually contractual. The first one I ever did, though, was with TLC. There was no contract. And it was like I got paid per session.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd go in the city, do the session, and then they wound up using me for sessions for 3 years. But there was no guarantee that I was going to get booked again.
Right.
So it was like one of those things where it's like, oh my gosh, another session? Okay, great. I'll be in the city. So in hindsight, I look at it, I'm like, wow, it's 3 years. 3 years of being the voice of something. The Weather Channel, I was their voice for a while, but I was the one that said, and now you're local on the 8s. So I used to hear myself.
It's raining cats and dogs. I just stepped in a poodle.
Poodle. But the Weather Channel was a per promo rate.
Right.
And one of those things, too, that I didn't know if I was going to get anything else.
You just hope and pray that they call again next week.
Right.
Yeah.
Then you have the next level, which for me happened with Disney Junior Asia. And that was a 6-week audition process through my agent.
6 weeks?
6 weeks of them going back and forth with talent and then narrowing it down.
Welcome to Disney World. No? You didn't have to do that?
You sound Cuban. No. You sound like Tony Montana.
Tony Montana, man,
Hey, yeah, they were narrowing it down. So it took a long time. Nerve-wracking, yes. But that is a contractual, obviously with Disney. So, and Disney's contract is insane. And
I'm sure you have to have a legal team to read it.
Yeah, there's a lot as well as, I can't do anything X-rated. I can't do anything that would, compromise the vision.
Oh, you had to stop the X-rated stuff?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, that's too bad. I was really enjoying that.
No more porn for me.
Okay.
So,
what about on camera? Can you just still do that? No?
So
Does that count? Is that a conflict? Is TV and radio a conflict? I don't know. Anyway, go ahead.
So that was a contract, and for Disney, it was something I was willing to not have to worry about.
Stuck on no porn.
I know. But it's insane because it's been 14 years of doing stuff for them. So with a contract with them, it's a guarantee. Yeah, you're still thinking about, okay.
Sorry. You said it's been 14 years since I've done porn.
That is true.
You should go out on a date or something, Linda. Find somebody.
So with Disney's contract, I get a guaranteed number of sessions each month, whether they have copy for me or not. Because you got to think about it. You're being pulled out of the market of being able to do anything for another network there.
Right.
With a guarantee, which is nice. But that's been 14 years, which is pretty much unheard of, kind of like your TV station, 19 years, So 14 years has been a gift.
Yep.
And then I also was a voice for Home Shopping Network, HSN. That one was a different auditioning process. That came around because the producer found my website. So, yes, he was very, very thorough about going through Google and finding women that sounded like what he felt was going to work for the network.
Right.
And it took him weeks of researching, because he wasn't at the time a big fan of agents. So he didn't want to go through an agent, and he wanted to do it himself. And I remember it came down to someone that a lot of people know, because she now does a lot of character work, Mara Juno. It was between Mara Juno and myself for the final round where you go in and you battle. Yes. But luckily that worked out for me. That was also contractual with a guaranteed number of sessions, in addition to if they cancel, an amount for cancellation, because it's not like I could go at the time to QVC. I couldn't go work for a competitor.
Right.
So that was cool. And that was like 6 years, but 6 years of continual
steady
income.
Money. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is why promo can be so appealing, but it's hard to get.
It really is. I also was fortunate enough to become the voice of PBS for Florida.
Oh, wow.
Totally different read than WSVN. They're in the same market.
Right.
But, WSVN is WSVN 7. Tune in tonight. That's kind of a read. And, of course, PBS is tonight. Watch Sesame Street. And I think I did that for 13 years. And finally, the boss called me in one day and says, no, this is a conflict. I said, I've been doing this for 13 years and Channel 7.
I was just going to ask
I bet you if you polled 10
conflict.
people, they would never know it's me on both. No, got to let you go. Thanks. And that was the end of that.
Wow. After all that
now
time.
They call me on a freelance basis and offer me really, really stupid amounts of money.
Oh, that's nice.
No, low stupid.
Oh,
Yeah. Can you do
stupid
this
on
for
the low
$20?
end.
No, I can't. I can, but you won't like the read.
Right. I get you.
So yeah. But promos are awesome. They really, really are. And you have a friend, and he is our opening and closing
Mr.
intro,
Brian
outro
Lee.
announcer.
Yeah,
He is the king of promos.
It's interesting to hear like what his day is like, because it's literally like 12 hours of him on call. Like he can't go get his hair cut in the middle of the day, because his agent will yell at him because he's not available. The way he's explained it to me, because he does a lot of news promo,
Yes.
the network will call. If he's not available to turn something around in 10 minutes, they go to the next person in line.
Right.
And he only gets paid per promo. So he doesn't have a contract like with NBC, unless things have changed. Now, I know that he had a contract. He might still be the voice of CBS up here in New York. And that's a yearly contract that they renew. And he does, everything with the network. But as far as the promos go, the ones that he's famous for, they're one-offs. It's just like, here it is. Are you available to do it? Next. Yes. So he's literally rip and read with...
Every 15 minutes, he's got a new client on the box.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Ripping through them every day. Yeah.
And going through them at such a fast pace that for him, he's making several thousands of dollars in a day. Yeah. And that's just...
Several thousands of dollars in a day. Yes.
And that's just doing promo, because he's not a narration guy. He doesn't like to do narration. It's too time consuming for him. And I don't blame him.
No. I'd rather say tonight on NBC for $5,000 and move on.
Right. It's
Great
like
read. Good.
It's like why we like to do car spots.
Exactly. Exactly. Hurry, Sailins Friday. Okay. Lunchtime.
Next. Now, there's an art form, of course, for narration and documentary, and we're not dogging that at all. It's just as far as time spent on something with the return, your ROI.
Yes.
Retail is great. Car spots are great.
Wonderful car spots, yes.
And promos are right up there too.
Furniture companies. Oh,
yeah.
I was the voice of Levitt's for about a year, and it was just nuts.
Was it?
I said, really? The same couch is on sale again? And I went, thank you.
So how frequent would they have you change stuff?
Oh, God, Levitt's was every week. And it was numerous spots.
How nice.
And it was union. And it was a lot of money.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. Back in the union days. Yeah.
Now, I think that Rolf was talking about, back to AI, that one of the industries that's going to be affected is promo. I
don't see how they can do that.
I think it's for the short form promo that's being used online, not the traditional like what we're used to.
They can't even say the word tonight without me knowing it's AI. Tonight. I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, one of the things
Give me 3 in a row.
One of the things with promo that people don't realize is that you have to have a very good ear and be able to consistently say the different days of the week for the promo the exact same way, so it fits and matches with the existing promo.
Yes.
And a lot of times people aren't prepared for that, because it's like Monday on HSN, Tuesday on HSN, Wednesday on HSN.
Oh, no.
It has to sound the same.
Yes. And that's a good point to bring up, because sometimes in our business, you'll get something a month later that you have to fix in something you did a month earlier. Mm-hmm. And it has to match.
Yeah.
So if you're on vacation recording in a hotel room on a $200 mic, and then you get home and they want to fix it, oh, God, it sounds too good.
Yeah, right.
But you've got to be able, and people have said that to me. They say, I like the fact to know that if I record something now, I need something fixed in 6 months, I'll be able to drop right in and nobody will ever know.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency is very, very important in this business.
And it's so important with your studio sound, because I know with HSN, they had settings that they would plug in whenever they connected with me to make it even with the network.
Yep.
And I know with Disney, for years, for the first 7 years of the relationship, I had to do live sessions with them via ISDN. And now they're 12 hours ahead. So I'd be at the studio 9 o'clock at night. They'd be 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh,
yeah,
boy.
For 7 years, because they wanted to make sure they got the quality. Then suddenly they were like, you know what? We don't need to pay for ISDN anymore. We're going to trust you. So the last 7 years, I've been able to do them by myself. But it took 7 years.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's all it took was 7 years?
It took 7 years.
Wow.
7 years.
I'm telling you.
But they'll dial you up and go, something's different. I don't know. Something's different. What did you do? Did you move something? Did you adjust something? Let me try and tweak
my pen.
Yeah. But it's because it's got to match. It's got to match what's been going out there.
Yeah.
So.
But with today's technology, they really can clean up most anything.
It's true.
Most anything. But yes. So promos is a different world. It's a different read. You're more tied to the studio.
Oh God, yeah.
You can't go anywhere, and I don't anyway during the day. For the most part, I may take a half an hour lunch, but otherwise I'm here.
I don't think Brian Lee went on vacation for 13 years.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah, and then he finally decided enough is enough, and he's like slated out, I think, 2 weeks in the year when he goes, and he just tells everybody, this is when it is. Don't call me.
Right.
You know, because God, you got to take a break.
Just like us, we're working like crazy, and you never get I took a short vacation 5-6 weeks ago, and everybody said, "You going to bring a studio?" And I said, the only time I've ever missed a session in my 35 years was when I had a heart attack. I never left the house without my studio. I never missed a session ever.
Right.
But 4 days after I get home, I got 160s to record. Now, meanwhile, my stitches are bleeding on my chest. My sternum had just been cut open. And Janine says, you got to get back in there. Mm-hmm. You've got to get right back. So we, as talent and showbiz people, the show must go on. That's how I was raised.
What was that trip that you took? And I think you were in Pennsylvania, and you got that emergency spot, and you didn't bring a studio because you were only going to be gone for like a day.
Oh, yes.
Remember, and you were calling us to try and help you find a studio.
Well, it was a car dealer that I've had for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, and I didn't want to miss it. So I started calling around. I finally found this guy who was, I don't know, a devout.
Was it Amish country or something?
I think so. And he said, "You want to record a car commercial?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "No, there's no dirty words or anything like that in there." And I said, "Fuck those." I mean, no, I didn't say that. I said, "No, sorry."
I will beat that out.
Okay. No. But he was really worried about me saying something. And I went, "It's just a car commercial. I'm selling a car. I'm going to yell a little, but I'm really not mad at you." And I said, "It'll take about 3 minutes of your time, and then you email it for me." But yeah, I had to drive. I'd just driven 7 hours. I check into the hotel. I put my bags down. Beep, boop. And I went, "Oh, no."
It's the one time you didn't bring a studio.
Yeah. And the studio was an hour and 12 minutes away.
Oh, God.
So after a 7-hour drive, I had to drive all the way to the studio to go, get back in the car and drive back to the hotel. So yeah, it's hard not to bring a studio with you when you do this for a living. You just sit and you wait and you wonder, and you tend not to have as good a time.
Yeah, I know.
I'm always worried about it. So I try and plan it between Christmas and New Year's. That's usually the quietest time. But God, I've had some years where, people are just throwing stuff at you. And I'm going, Santa is still under the tree. Leave me alone.
I know. I took a trip to Norway years ago.
Oh, Norway.
Norway, yes.
Okay.
I wanted to see the Northern Lights. Sandy and I went. And the trip was planned for a long time, and I had prepared every client because I was like, this is 1 week I'm going to be out in nature. I don't want to be near a computer. So, of course, I don't bring anything. I give everyone as much notice as possible. I send reminders. The network's new. Okay, you're not around this week. Yep.
Doesn't matter.
I remember an agent contacting me and yelling at me and saying, "You can't record?" And I'm like, "I've been telling you that I am going away for 1 week. I'm in Norway. I'm getting these messages." And he was pissed. Pissed. And I was like, I seriously did not bring a...
Yeah.
And I was in Tromsø, which is like in it's the northern hemisphere, the top Arctic Circle. I was within the Arctic Circle. So, yeah, I'm sure there's a studio just around the corner.
Igloo Studios.
Yeah. It's igloos. It's dog sledding. It's true. We went dog sledding. That was so cool.
That's fun.
But he was upset. And I was like, well, it's 1 week, but that's the reality of it. Especially if you're doing promo, you're especially tied.
Yes.
Tied to it.
Yes, and we teach how to do promos as well.
Yes.
We've had people ask us, who've taken the course, and they say, can you recommend anybody to do promos? And I said, yes, us. We've been doing them for quite a long time.
I honestly don't know of anyone that really coaches promo.
No, and you really have to have done them often.
Right.
To really teach them properly, I think. Because there's really a trick to it. They send you a video and the script, and you go da 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 da, and then the video, and you're watching the video as you're recording, trying to make these little words fit in between the video clips.
The sound bites.
And it's an interesting read. I'm glad we talked about this.
It takes a lot of technique.
Yes, it does. It's like reading to a scratch track.
Right.
That's another topic we should cover. Or did we already?
I don't think we've discussed that.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what I do, and I think you do the same thing too. I get the video from the network. I import it into Pro Tools.
Yes.
Lately, though, this Pro Tools, the latest version that I have, will not import the audio. So I have to use a application called Shutter Encoder. And I drop the video into Shutter Encoder, and it can basically convert it to any kind of format you need. It's free, folks, if you're looking for something. And then I take that waveform and drag it into Pro Tools, open up my little script, and I lower it. I lower the pot, the meter. What do you want to call it? The fader. I lower the fader.
For volume.
So I can hear the scratch track very low.
Right. You don't want it too loud or they'll hear it.
Right. I voice over that. And then I take that whole file so they can I clean up mistakes, but everything is placed exactly where it needs to be.
Yes. It must start and finish where they do.
Right. And the way they just lay it in and bada boom, bada bing.
What you can't do, though, is when you bounce it to the hard drive, is forget to solo the track that you did. Because then you send them the other track as well. And I get Scott Pringle, a good friend of mine, saying, dude, I've got like 2 voices here. Can you send me just yours? And I'm going, oh, God, I'm sorry. Oh, dear. Yeah, so remember to solo it out or move it somewhere clear. Yeah.
These are little technical terms that we should go over at another point. But,
and there are tricks and things that you can do, because sometimes the people, and we've talked about this before, that do the scratch track that have no idea what they're doing, and they just talk like this, and they never take a breath, and they just keep reading and reading and reading and reading and reading.
I know.
And I'm just trying to keep up, and I'm, my lips are getting all pale because I don't have enough oxygen in my body. But there are tricks to getting that to work. So we can talk about that.
I love when a client, though, was like, I don't get it. I can read it in that time.
Yeah, to yourself.
And I'm like,
with no emotion.
There's no emotion. There's no, nothing more than you just going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Chevy is having a sale. And wow, it's going to be an explosive sale. No, I'm sorry. I need more time. Less time. But so that's promos. Yeah.
Awesome. Well,
but, sure, I'm enjoying the classes and then the workouts and the.
I feel like we gave out
audition night
a lot of information in this one.
I think so too.
A compact amount of time, and we really. I actually took notes this time. So.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, to be prepared. I prepared a little bit.
Oh, wow. I thought you took notes on what you were saying.
No, not on my existing.
You don't have to. You just said it.
Now, coming up in the next few weeks, we have 2 workouts in the month of August, the 11th and the 18th.
1, 2, 1.
But that's it, because we're going to take a little time like everybody else does. August is weird. But you can also, if you're just anxious to get into VO, you take our online course, and then that's going to allow you to book an evaluation with us, with one of us.
Right.
Which is really cool. And very affordable too. But any topics you guys want us to talk about something? Let us know. info@voiceover.guru. Yes. JJ, cool. Anything to add?
No, I don't have a calculator, but thanks.
Okay. Well, everyone have a great rest of your day and week.
Don't tell me what to do. Oh, sorry.
And take care.
Well, bye-bye now, and we'll see you soon on the Guru Network.
Cool. All right, good. That's like right at 30. Fantastic. What happened to you? You froze.
No, I didn't.
Oh, yeah. That's funny. I'm keeping that.
Thanks for listening to the Voiceover Gurus podcast. Real talk about the voiceover industry. Learn more about us and get coaching at voiceover.guru.